Okay, peeps, welcome back. So, today we're going to be going over 5 great benefits you can get from investing in YieldMax ETFs. Passive income, extra money for expenses, be picky with employment, and we'll go over the rest in a minute. Let's get it. So, the first one that I want to mention is the passive income piece. Now, if we go over here to the NASDAQ.com, you guys can see if I type in TSLY, since it's everybody's favorite, we'll go ahead and take a look at that. They don't have the most recent payout, but we'll actually just go ahead and go to the YieldMax website real quick so we can see the most recent payout. Again, I'm not really sure why the NASDAQ.com is not showing this stuff. Usually they're pretty up to date. But if we go over here to TSLY, you can see the distribution rate currently is about 47%. And the most recent payout is 58.5 cents per share. Okay, so passive income is basically income that you receive for investing in a company that's going to basically say thank you for investing in our company. So we're going to pay you a portion of our profits through our cash flow. Here you go. Here's an amount of money that you'll get on a per share basis. The more shares you own of our company, the more we're going to pay you. That's pretty much how it works. And you just invest in them before the ex-dividend date. So in August, you basically would have had to hold the shares on the 3rd or before that. And again, they say, thank you. Here's a piece of our profit. We're going to pay you in passive income. Go do with it whatever you want to, but we hope you'll reinvest with us, right? That's more or less the thesis of passive income investing. So let's take a look at how much income you would have got for 1,000 shares of TSLY. So on the August payment, you would have gotten about $830. On the most recent payment, you would have basically gotten about $590. So we'll say 1,000 times 0.59, so $580. So how much money would that have cost? Well, if you got 1,000 shares and you paid $14.74 a share, you were patient, you waited for the dip. Well, here's what you would have to pay. About $14,500. That's actually honestly not that bad. If I scroll down here and we take a look at something like, let's say we'll look at something like JP Morgan, for example, since the JPMO ETF for YieldMax just came out. We'll take a look at JP Morgan. To own 1,000 shares of that, you would need roughly about $148,000. So you're only having to put in about 10% of the money to get way more passive income than you would have got with JP Morgan. So let's actually take a look at that so you guys can understand just how powerful these YieldMax funds really are. So JPM, here's the dividend history. You guys can see they do offer raises, but as of the last 2 to 3 years, or 2 years, it looks like they're only giving $1 dividend per quarter, which is still really good. So basically, if you had 1,000 shares of JPM, it would cost you 148 grand, and you would get basically $1,000 a year, or about $250 a quarter, or about $83 a month. That's pretty good, but again, it costs a lot more money, and you would also get a lot less in passive income. So what's so great about passive income, guys? I'll just be real with you. I mean, you don't got to do anything. You just invest in the company or the ETF or whatever it is. You get paid, and then you can do whatever you want to with that money. You can reinvest it. You can go spend it. You can use it to get a new car. You can go on a vacation. You can pay off debt. You can accumulate cash. You can essentially do whatever you want to do with it. It's your money. You're getting paid the money in passive income for holding assets. And that's pretty much just the end of it. So the second thing I want to talk about is extra money for expenses. So we're going to take a look at a blog here. As you guys can see, I will leave all these in the description for you below so you can look at it for yourself. But as you guys can see here, the average household income for 2022 in America was about $6,000 a month. If you had, let's say, 2,000 shares of TSLY and it was paying 83 cents a share, you would get $660 a month extra in passive income. Now, let's say you had to pay, I don't know, 20% in taxes. Okay. So 332. And again, it's always a good idea to, not financial advice, but it's always a good idea to calculate in the taxes for your own personal situation. You would still get about $1,300 a month of passive income net after taxes. So if we take the 6,081 minus 1,328, now your expenses would only be 4,753. So instead of having to come up with 6,000 through your job or family income or whatever you do, now you would only need to come up with about 25% of that. So again, it offsets expenses. If you keep your expenses extremely low, again, I think this is kind of a bit extreme. In my opinion, this might be something for like, I mean, $6,000 a month. That's a lot. You would have to, as a single person, you would have to be just being stupid with money. You would have to have like $1,000 a month car payment, and you would have to be subscribed to all kinds of subscriptions that you may or may not need. I mean, the amount of discretionary income that you would need to spend would be insane. So this might be more of like for a family household, not so much for singles or couples. But if you live well below your means, it allows you to basically pretty much pay for all your expenses. In this situation, it would at least cover a portion of them so you don't feel as much pressure to pay bills. So that's reason number 2. Reason number 3 is to be more picky with employment. I have a whole list here of all the different United States states and what the average wages on a yearly basis are for employees that work in the United States. Again, I don't know if this is just your average income as a culmination of all the different industries that people work in. I'm not sure exactly how these numbers are calculated, but I will leave the blog in the description for you guys to take a look at. So you got all your different states here, the lows, the highs in terms of what they make. So we're going to try to see if we can find like a median average here. So this is the, well, okay, I don't know anything about the gender pay gap. Let's take a look at the different states. So if we take a bird's eye peek at this, you can basically see that the numbers pretty much range roughly around 50 to 70K. So we'll say it's about 60,000 a year on average. So 60,000 divided by 12 is 5,000 a month, divided by 160 hours in a month, because most people only work 40 hours a week. You would basically need to make $31 an hour in order to make that amount of money, 60,000 a year. So how much would you need to have in TSLY? Well, we use TSLY since it's the highest payer minus NVIDIA. And this is for YieldMax funds in general. You guys can go back and do the numbers, figure out what you would need to do, how much you would need to own to get this amount. But we'll use TSLY as an example. So we'll say you had 3,000 shares of TSLY at 58 cents per share, or 59 cents, we'll just say. So, okay, so that's not quite enough. So we'll jump this up to 6,000 times 0.59 divided by 160, $22 an hour. We'll jump this up to 8,000 times 0.59 divided by 160, 29 and a half an hour. Bump it up one more time to 8,500. And again, the distributions on this fund could pay differently over time. The idea is when the market goes up, they pay more. When the market goes down, they pay less. But then again, we don't trade options here, at least not yet. So we're not entirely sure how that works, but that's kind of the general idea. So 8,500 times 0.59, you would get basically your 60,000 a year right there, divided by 160. So even at this deep discounted price, you would still only need to own 8,500 shares of this to get the equivalent of what the average wage is in the United States, which would be roughly about 60,000. So we're going to go ahead and figure out based on the current price. As you guys can see in the top left tab here, it's 1474. So 8,500 times 1474. Whoops, my bad. So I did the math on this a little bit wrong. Times 1474. So in order to make the average income in the United States currently, you would only need to own about 125,000 worth of this fund. I will tell you guys, with some stocks like 3M and Johnson and Johnson and JP Morgan Chase, if you wanted to get 60,000 a year of income, you're taking a look at maybe $1 million to $2 million. So these prices are not that bad. But again, if your expenses are $2,000 a month and you make $1,000 a month in dividends, well, if you really wanted to, let's say you're making $26 an hour and you want to take a pay cut and say, okay, you know what? I'm tired of this job. It's too much work. It's too stressful. The hours are too long. I'm spending time away from the wife and the kids or whatever the case is. And you say to yourself, you know what? I make this extra money on the side. I'm getting sick of this. So I'm going to let this go ahead and cover the gap. I'm going to take a cheaper paying job or lower paying job so I can have more time to spend with my family or do other things that I want to do financially or whatever the case may be. Well, you can now accept a job paying lower at whatever the rate you want is, and the passive income that you get will cover the gap. So it gives you the option to be extremely picky when it comes to who you choose to work for. You can literally, at this point, with $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month in expenses, you can say, you know what, I'm walking away, I'm done. I'm gonna do something else. Okay. So that's the third option. The fourth option is financial freedom. When you have financial freedom, you can literally do whatever you want to in life because you don't need the money from a job. You can go do what you want to do. You don't have to clock on because the boss tells you if you don't, you're going to get fired. You don't have to worry about attendance points. You don't have to worry about toxic coworkers. You don't have to worry about none of that stuff. You can do whatever you want to do, whenever you want to do it, wherever you want to do it, with whoever you want to do it. Okay. And you get the choice to go on vacation when you want to, live where you want to. You can spend time around people you want to be around, and you don't have to be around people you don't want to be around. And so here's steps from Investopedia you guys can look at to achieve this. So it says set life goals, make a monthly budget, pay off credit cards, create automatic savings, start investing, watch your credit score. And again, credit score is important. Negotiate for goods and services. I will tell you guys right now, when I went to buy my car, the salesman that I had was kind of a jerk. Let's put it like that. I didn't really like his attitude and the way he was talking to me. So he didn't know that I was actually going to make a cash offer on the car. He had no idea that I was going to go in there and pay cash. He just assumed I was just another buyer, right? And because he did that, I basically told him, I said, look, you can give me $4,000 off of the retail price of the car with the MSRP discount, or I'm going to walk away and I'm going to go to another dealer. And the manager agreed to do it. And so I basically got about 20% off of the price of my vehicle at the time I bought it. So it gives you the power to do that. You can get educated on financial issues, maintain your property, live below your means, get a financial advisor, take care of your health. So I'll leave this in the description for you guys below. That's great benefit number 4. And number 5 would be that you can diversify into different assets. If you're making plenty of money, you got passive income, you got a job, you got other means of income coming in, and you have plenty of excess, basically what you could do is you could take the dividends from this and say, okay, I want to go buy some dividend paying stocks. I want to buy some ExxonMobil this month, or I want to buy some JPM this month, or I want to take some of these growth stocks and put some money into those for some swing trades so I can make some, juicy profits in like a couple weeks or a couple months. Or I want to get ready for the next big revolution, which is AI, and I want to buy some of these AI tech stocks for the long term. Or I want to buy into some index funds for retirement. Or I want to buy some precious metals because I think the market's going to tank and we're going into an economic collapse and I want to protect my capital. Or I want to buy into some cryptocurrency because I know the halving's coming next year and I want to make some money in the crypto bull run. So you can literally just take the dividends from these YieldMax funds, TSLY, or other funds, and you can use it to buy whatever you want. These are cash dividends. Because it's cash, there's no implications. You can literally, well, of course, you have to pay taxes, but after taxes, you can use that money to then buy whatever you want. Or you can go buy a car, you can go buy a house, depending on how much you make. You can literally buy whatever you want. You can go buy an island if you make enough money. So, anyways, this is the 5 great benefits you guys get from YieldMax funds. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.